Life after 50 is supposed to be a harvest, a time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, especially the relationships you nurtured with your children. But what happens when you reach this season and find the fields are bare? When the adult child you poured your life into grows cold, distant, or silent, it feels like a bankruptcy of the soul. You are left wondering if anything you did truly mattered. Today, drawing from the deep well of Viktor Frankl's wisdom, we uncover what remains when the relationship fades, the essential truths that distance cannot touch and time cannot erase. Crossing the age of 50 changes the texture of time. You become acutely aware that there is less time ahead of you than behind you. This realization usually brings a desire for depth, connection, and legacy. For a parent, the deepest desire is often to be close to their adult children, to witness their lives, to be a safe harbor, to be a friend. When that child pulls away, rejecting your efforts or drifting into indifference, the pain is existential. It feels like a death without a funeral. You might look around at your empty home or your quiet phone and ask the most haunting question of all: was it all for nothing? The distance makes you question the validity of the past and the purpose of the present. It casts a shadow over your memories, tainting them with the bitterness of the current estrangement. You feel robbed of the role that defined your prime years. However, Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived 4 concentration camps and lost his entire family, taught us that even when everything is taken from us, something indestructible remains. He called this the unconditional meaning of life. Frankl argues that life asks us questions, and our dignity lies in how we answer them, even in the face of loss. When your child distances themselves, the question life asks you changes. It is no longer, how do I parent this child? But, what truly matters now that I stand alone? This video will guide you through 5 powerful shifts in perspective that reveal what truly still matters, the things that silence cannot steal and distance cannot destroy. The illusion of loss versus the reality of the harvest. When an adult child grows distant after you turn 50, the immediate sensation is one of total loss. You feel as though the relationship has been erased, and by extension your past efforts have been nullified. The mind plays a cruel trick, telling you that the current silence cancels out the years of laughter, the bedtime stories, the sacrifices, and the love. You feel like a gardener who watered a tree for decades only to have it fenced off just as it bore fruit. But Viktor Frankl offers a profound correction to this despair with his concept of the granaries of the past. He taught that nothing in the past is irretrievably lost. On the contrary, everything is irrevocably stored. He said, everything that we have done, thought, loved, or suffered is safely stored in the granaries of the past. This means that the history you built with your child is real. It is permanent. The current distance does not have the power to reach back in time and undo the love you gave or the moments you shared. What truly matters, then, is acknowledging the reality of what was. The silence of today is painful, yes, but it is not a negation of yesterday. Your legacy as a parent is not determined by whether your child calls you this Sunday. It is determined by the fact that you gave life, you gave care, and you shaped a human being who is now out in the world. That contribution to the universe is finished, secure, and indestructible. Frankl encourages us to shift our view from transitoriness, the fear that everything passes, to the richness of the past. Your child's current behavior is a chapter, perhaps a long and painful one, but it is not the whole book. The love you poured out has entered the fabric of their being, whether they acknowledge it right now or not. What matters is not the immediate gratification of a thank you, but the quiet knowledge that you fulfilled your task. You built the foundation. If they choose not to stand on it with you right now, that is their choice, but the foundation remains. By embracing this, you protect your memories from the corrosion of bitterness. You can look at an old photo and smile, not with the pain of what I lost, but with the pride of what I lived. This shift restores your dignity. You are not a failed parent. You are a parent who completed the heavy lifting. The harvest is stored, even if you aren't feasting on it at this exact moment. The shift from role to essence. For 30 years or more, your matter was defined by your utility. You mattered because you were the driver, the chef, the financier, the counselor, the safety net. Your value was tied to your function. After 50, when an adult child pulls away, They are essentially firing you from that job. This leads to a crisis of worthiness. If I am not needed, do I still matter? Frankl's logotherapy distinguishes sharply between utility, what we are good for, and dignity, who we are. In the concentration camps, prisoners lost all utility. They could not work. They had no possessions. They had no titles. Yet Frankl observed that some retained a radiant human dignity that inspired others. He realized that human worth is not conditional on usefulness. What truly matters now is your essence, not your role. The distance from your child is a brutal but necessary invitation to meet yourself again. Who are you underneath the label of parent? You are a being with your own spirit, your own curiosities, your own accumulated wisdom, and your own relationship with the universe. The distance forces you to stop outsourcing your self-esteem to your children. This is a spiritual pivot. Your child's distance effectively says, I don't need you to be my parent right now. Instead of hearing this as, I am worthless, Frankl invites you to hear it as, I am free to be myself. What matters now is the cultivation of your own inner garden. It is the books you haven't read, the places you haven't seen, the kindness you can offer to strangers, the peace you can make with your own history. Your child may be distant, but your soul is right here waiting for your attention. The energy you use to direct outward in worry and management must now be directed inward in cultivation and care. You matter because you exist, because you are a unique, unrepeatable consciousness in this world. Your child's inability to see your worth does not diminish it. It only reveals their blindness. Reclaiming your essence is the ultimate act of self-respect. It signals to the world and to your absent child that while you love the role of parent, you do not need it to justify your existence. If you wish to support this work, the thanks button is there for you. Thank you for being here. The indestructible bond of love beyond. Presence. We are conditioned to believe that love requires proximity. We think that to love someone, we must be talking to them, touching them, or helping them. When the child withdraws, we feel our love has nowhere to go, so it turns into anxiety or grief. It sours inside us. We feel that the bond is broken because the phone line is dead. Viktor Frankl challenges this physical limitation of love. He wrote profoundly about holding mental conversations with his wife while he was in the camps, not knowing if she was alive or dead. He realized that love goes very far beyond the physical person of the beloved. It finds its deepest meaning in his spiritual being, his inner self. What truly matters after 50 is your capacity to love, which is independent of your child's capacity to receive it. You can continue to love a distant child. You can wish them well, pray for them, and hold a space of goodwill for them in your heart without their participation. This is unconditional love in its purest, most difficult form. When you release the demand for the love to be transactional, I love you so you must call me, you enter a state of spiritual maturity. The bond is not broken, it is transformed. It moves from the visible world of Sunday dinners to the invisible world of the heart. You become a silent guardian of their well-being from afar. This perspective protects you from resentment. Resentment says, after all I did, you owe me. Love says, I gave because it was my nature to give, and I continue to wish you light because that is who I am. What matters is keeping your own heart soft. If you allow their distance to turn you into a bitter, angry person, they have taken not just your relationship, but your character. Frankl urges us to preserve our capacity to love as our highest spiritual achievement. You can light a candle for them. You can speak kindly of them to others. You can remember their best moments. This preserves the bond in the only place you have total control, your own mind. By doing this, you ensure that if they ever do return, they will find a bridge, not a burned-down fortress. The responsibility to your own unlived life. There is a tragedy that Frankl warned against, which is waiting for a life that has already passed while missing the life that is waiting for you. After 50, time is your most precious, non-renewable resource. If you spend your days ruminating on why your child is distant, analyzing their texts, or waiting by the phone, you are committing a form of spiritual suicide. You are sacrificing the time you have left on an altar of absence. Frankl emphasized responsibleness as the essence of human existence. He asked, what is life expecting from you? Life is not finished with you just because your active parenting is. Life is expecting you to live fully right now, with or without your child's approval. What truly matters is your responsibility to your own unlived life. There are experiences, joys, and contributions that have your name on them. Perhaps there is a vocation you ignored, a talent you buried, or a community that needs exactly your type of wisdom. The distance of your child creates a vacuum, yes, but nature abhors a vacuum. You have a moral obligation to fill it with something meaningful. This is not about moving on in the sense of forgetting your child. It is about moving forward in the sense of honoring the gift of your life. Frankl would say that despair is suffering without meaning. If you suffer the distance and do nothing with it, it is despair. If you use the space created by the distance to deepen your friendships, improve your health, or create art, you have turned suffering into an achievement. Imagine looking back at 80. Would you want to see that you spent your 60s and 70s paralyzed by a child's silence? Or would you want to see that you grieved, stood up, and built a beautiful, rich final act? Your child's distance is a heavy fate, but what you do with the time remaining is your freedom. Choose to live. It is the best testament to the value of life that you can offer. Leaving a legacy of grace, not guilt. Finally, after 50, we begin to think about the end, about how we will be remembered. If your relationship with your adult child remains distant until the end of your days, what truly matters is the stance you took in the face of that tragedy. Frankl spoke often of the attitudinal values, the values we demonstrate by how we handle unavoidable suffering. When you cannot change the situation, the distance, you challenge yourself to change your attitude. The legacy you leave is not defined by whether your family looked perfect in photos. It is defined by the grace you embodied when things fell apart. If you respond to distance with aggression, guilt-tripping, manipulation, or victimhood, you confirm the child's need to stay away. You leave a legacy of heaviness. But if you respond with what Frankl called tragic optimism, acknowledging the pain but maintaining a posture of faith, kindness, and dignity, you leave a legacy of light. What truly matters is that you do not let the distance turn you into something you are not. You remain the parent who loves, the person who forgives, and the elder who understands the complexities of the human heart. You show the world, and your distant child who is watching from afar, what it looks like to carry sorrow without being crushed by it. This legacy of grace is powerful. It releases the child from the crushing weight of your happiness. Paradoxically, when a parent finds their own footing and stops projecting guilt, it often creates the safety required for the child to eventually return. But even if they don't, you have succeeded. You have succeeded in being a human being who faced the void and filled it with dignity. You are modeling resilience. You are showing that one's worth is intrinsic, not relational. This is the ultimate lesson a parent can teach, even if they have to teach it through the silence. You matter because you stayed true to your values when it would have been easier to collapse into bitterness. That is a triumph that no distance can take away. The distance of an adult child after 50 is a profound wound, but as Viktor Frankl teaches us, the wound is where the light enters. By shifting your focus from the illusion of loss to the reality of your harvest, by valuing your essence over your role, and by choosing to live your remaining years with responsibility and grace, you transform this tragedy into a testament of human strength. The silence may remain, but it no longer has to be empty. It can be filled with the knowledge that you loved well, that you are living fully, and that you have kept the door of your heart open without letting the cold wind extinguish your fire. Now, I turn this over to you. As you navigate this chapter of life, what is one passion or purpose you have rediscovered for yourself? How? Are you filling the space with new meaning? Please share your story in the comments below. Your experience is a beacon for others walking this same path. If this video brought you value, like it to help reach more parents, and subscribe to join our community of wisdom and healing. You are not alone.